President Trump is overseas, continuing his visit to the UK today, where he will meet with the Prime Minister there, Keir Starmer, and his wife, Lady Victoria. The President and the First Lady spent the day yesterday at Windsor Castle. They were treated to a flyover from American and British planes. President Trump and King Charles also inspected the honor guard, and they wrapped things up with a state dinner at the castle there, Windsor Castle. Joining us now, Foreign Affairs correspondent Amy Kellogg. This visit to Windsor Castle, Amy, filled with pageantry and ceremony, but is there also some actual business that happens at these visits?
Well, pomp and ceremony like none seen in recent memory was said time and again. There was that incredible banquet last night in St. George's Hall at Windsor Castle, where both King Charles and President Trump gave speeches that were carefully written and read at the dinner before they tucked into their glorious feast in that hall. Both really laid the flattery on thick. They talked about the special relationship and they rooted it in history. So they wove in allegorical and literary references to the bonds between the two countries. But they also made great props to liberty and freedom of speech. And that was followed by Trump firing off that social media post last night, criticizing Jimmy Kimmel and celebrating his suspension from his show.
When they talk later about actual issues with the prime minister, what are some of the top issues that are going to be discussed?
Well, the British press says they're waiting for some fireworks when there's a press conference between British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and President Trump, because this entire visit so far has been very controlled. There were some protests outside Windsor Castle and some bigger ones in London, but President Trump and the First Lady had been within the grounds of Windsor Castle throughout their visit, pretty much. So they were insulated from all of that. There is right now a meeting going on at Chequers, which is the Elizabethan 16th century manor house, the country retreat of British prime ministers. They are talking trade. They will no doubt be talking Ukraine, and they will be talking Gaza. And here are some grounds for disagreement because Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, is prepared to recognize a Palestinian state in the coming days. And that is something that Washington is not supportive of. And also, the UK has been firmly on the side of President Zelensky and very vocal in criticizing Vladimir Putin and blaming him for starting the war, which he did. Whereas, as we know, President Trump has been much more supportive of Putin and willing to hear him out. So when this press conference happens, and of course, there is the Jeffrey Epstein story, which reporters are likely to want to dig into again. We may see a different tone, but on the business side, there are some incredibly big investment deals from the tech industry in the United States being planned to the tune of $150 billion and upwards for investment in the United Kingdom. And that will be a major headline if that, in fact, does happen.
You mentioned some protests, Amy. There was a giant image of Trump and Epstein projected up on the castle. There was a local station that ran a marathon of Trump lies on television. But how is he being received among the population? Is he a popular or divisive figure in the UK?
Yeah, he's definitely a divisive figure in the United Kingdom. We did see pro-Trump demonstrations. There is a sort of nascent MAGA movement in the United Kingdom, the equivalent of a MAGA movement, I should say. And but there are a lot of people who find President Trump to be distasteful and who are concerned about a lot of the issues that we've spoken about today, whether it's his Trump's apparent sympathy for Vladimir Putin and the fact that the United States has not used its immense power and influence over Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to lighten up and to stop the killing in Gaza, or at least wrap this war up and make it more of what it was supposed to be, which was getting rid of the leadership of Hamas and then moving on to finding some sort of solution for Israel and the Palestinians to get back to a normal life.
Amy Kellogg, thanks for joining us here on Connecting America. As always, we appreciate her perspective.